Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Blender Conference. How are you feeling today? Good? All right. First of all, thank you for inviting us here. This is amazing. We came all the way from Latvia to China. It's my first time here. For Konstantins, it's the second, but let's say it's the first also. And yeah, I guess we can go. So a little bit before we start, who of you have seen Flow? Okay, good. For those who haven't seen it,
Flow is a feature-length film about a cat surviving a flood, about the cooperation, and he's the Mārtiņš Upītis. I'm Konstantins Visnevskis. Probably mentioned that. We will probably talk about our team, our studio, and what we personally did in the movie. At the heart of everything is Gints Ilbalodis, our director, and who probably himself personally did like a third of the work on all of the movie, which is downscale from 100% that he did on his previous movie. And so there's a lot that can be said about Gints and his approach. If there is not a book that he read on leadership, that's probably what he should do at some point, because to explain the success of his movies, to explain his personal approach to the creative process.
So a little bit about animation industry in Latvia. We have a long, let's say, history of animation from, let's say, from 30s, yeah. And but it is not an industry as you would describe it. It's more like animation is as an art house, and it is not something you work in. It's more like you as an artist create. And this is why also we don't have
we don't have any authority that would say that what is good and what is wrong. So it's quite hard to get public funding, because there's basically nobody to say that, yeah, your work is good, so you should get the funding.
But that's why Gints created his film alone on the couch with two dogs, the film Away, and he got Contrachamp Award in Annecy, and this somehow established his next movie. To tell about Gints. The production started in 2019. Gints had created his short film called Aqua, which was also about cat on flood. This was his, let's say, I think it was one of the first short films that he made. And in 2019, after the first feature film that he made, he started working on Flow.
Yeah, so things that should be noted about Ginz's creative approach is the way he manages his team. Namely that it's quite often the case that in Western production studios, especially, well, any artist has some anxiety about their work, you're never sure that what you do is good enough, and so that often gets exploited, and also is a tool to push the people to their limits, and not always that's good for the creative process. And for the Ginz approach, it's the other way around. Like I've seen many people come into the studio to work in the movie, and initially they get perplexed by the creative freedom that they are given, basically they are giving a front row seat to the results of their own work. You can clearly see the honest attempt to make whatever you create work for the whole movie, and that makes you to want to actually try to achieve as best result as you can, because you understand that you are responsible for the result of your own work.
So in around 2019, he created first images for Flow to get the funding. These are one of the first images of the movie. And let's see what I have here. Oh yeah, and yeah, I think we can go further. Yes. Just a little bit more about the team. The team was exceptionally small for a feature film. And it spanned Latvia, Belgium, and France. In the next few slides, we will a little bit talk about the core team members of the Flow team. This is Mārtiņš Kaja. He's the producer, Latvian producer, and the co-writer for Flow. And Dārta Krāsone, she is production manager, let's say. Mārtiņš is a very special person because he's not only producer, he's also a director, film director. He is theater director. He also teaches at university. What is, I guess, very interesting about him is that he doesn't really micromanage everyone, except maybe for Ginz. And Dārta, she just made sure that, for example, during the travels, nobody gets left behind.
This is Peters Tenisons and Paula Bobova. Peters was our graphical designer and also polished a little bit of the animatic. Paula did concept design for the movie characters and also was the author of the Flow logo. Then there is Arthur Gore, who was our environment concept artist, and his concepts were good enough that we basically just put them straight into the movie. Yeah, there was quite a bit of polygon reducing because those were concepts, but still it was quite high quality so that we could use it straight out of the box. Then this is Leo.
We heard from him yesterday.
Yeah, so
not much to talk about him, but now that he's not here, we can talk anything about him.
Yeah, but in actuality, he was extremely professional in terms that he laid all the groundwork for the quality of the animation, meaning that he had a half of a year to do all the factual animation, and he did it precisely in half a year. Like he managed all the teaching of the students and passing on the information required to achieve all the realism that you can see in the actions of the animals.
This is, we have two more, let's say, junior Blender users, Christina and Kristaps. Kristaps was our intern. He was so good that we kept him. Christina hadn't used Blender before when she started working on the film, and she did all of the trees and foliage, and she was the gardener of Flow. And she actually works at theater as a scenographer. So first time 3D users.
Yeah, this is Richard Zalupe, the composer for the Flow that Gints invited to write the score for the music. Gints wrote the music for the Flow himself, but he's not an academic musician, so there was somebody needed to adapt Gints' music to the like what the orchestra is used to, because later also Richards recorded the music with the professional orchestra also in Riga.
And a little bit about our office space. We started Flow. When we started working on Flow, everyone was working from homes. And that was not very efficient. And we started to scout for our office space. We found this place. This is, let's say, like 1900s horse stable with a rooftop patio. It was built in, yeah, as you say, there's some text, but in general, the place had a very colorful history. And when we entered in the place, it had double-decker beds and bunk beds, and it was a hostel. It was the time when pandemic first hit, and getting a hostel was actually quite easy because hostels were not very popular back then.
And I'll probably mention that because it was a hostel for the next 2 years of the work in progress, we had tourists coming to our doors almost each day, asking if they could stay, maybe. And yeah, that continued until on a Blender conference, the actual Google Maps engineer suggested that maybe we could remove the hostel designation from the map, and magically that worked.
What is very special about our place is, so Dreamwell Studio itself is just Gints Silbalod's, the director. It is not a studio as you would consider a studio. There are actually 5 lean small companies that are working separately. So we have Dreamwell Studio, which is Gints, Trickster, which is Mārtiņš, the producer and writer. Shade is a VFX studio. Base Motion is making drone shows. Physical Add-ons is me. And also we have few animators and directors. And what we found extremely amazing is that everyone working there is expert in their field.
Yeah, so basically any lunch turned into a conversation about some important topic, and you could always ask some random question and get an exact professional answer to it, meaning that regardless if it's fine arts, scenography, or just a question of pacing, animation, or something like that, you always had at least someone who could give you an expert advice on basically anything.
So there's also software development, business development, so we had like a whole range of expertises.
Then the COVID.
Oh yeah, by the way, we have also winters with snow here, unlike Shenzhen. But pandemic hit. It was, I think, 2021, right? The first wave was not that difficult. The second wave hit, and it came with quite a bit of restrictions. But I think the most amazing part about the office is that you can hide yourself in the office, especially if you like working and workaholism, and that's what we did. A little bit about yeah.
Yeah, the office turned out. Mārtiņš, being a quite public figure, slowly turned out the office into a spring, winter, and autumn party spot that gathered lots of people from filming industry around Baltics. So that was also useful. Like a few times a year, we got a chance to meet and network with different kinds of professionals from the movie scene in the Baltics. And then our heat pump broke down. That's kind of prominent event just because it was roughly minus 15. In the photo, it's not that cold, but yeah, we basically got heated by electricity.
And the building is actually not a real office, it's just a horse stable with some amenities.
It's not really insulated.
Yeah.
So, and then it broke down again. So we had a fireplace which got its use finally, but actually at the same time we began working on simulations and rendering, which meant that computers finally began producing heat, and basically at minus 15 outside we had our windows open because we were heated by the computers. Second floor though wasn't that happy because the heat did go away through windows. But
yeah, the thing was that, so in the office we have two floors. First floor is studio, the film studio with Ginzil below this. Second floor is us, the developers and VFX studio, and all the heat was raised up, so we were cooking there.
Yeah, so now a bit of technical part on what we did personally. So how did I end up in the movie? Well, initially Ginz was discussing possible potential for the co-production with some animation studios and commercial production studios, and they casually, as a reason for refusal, some of the studios mentioned that the budget is too small, and also they casually mentioned that they also would have pay Konstantins, which is me, for the rigging. So Ginz just went straight away to me and asked if I would do rigging. And so with the remodeling, initially I did the lemur rig, which went quite well. But later it proved quite a bit harder because the next character was a cat. And although you can probably see the rig working, the way I approached it, because I'm coming from the TV commercials, where you can do everything perfectly just because you have very short and very few shots, my approach was to create probably too complex of a rig for a movie, because there is a really high priority for the convenience and effortless workflow with the character for the animators, given they have to work a lot with them. So initially when doing the rig, I put all the changes into a script that would regenerate the changes when the rig had to be updated. And it was like a small script for a single page, and after all the modifications that were needed, but before even the first comment from the animation team arrived, the script looked like this. So I was quite relieved that Leo offered that maybe they redo the rigging. Yeah, so that kind of smoothed out the process, but still I had to do all the fur on the animals, and yeah, these are tests of the potential techniques that we could use for the fur. In the end, it was just basically a simple displacement, but along the custom normals that point towards the growth of the fur, which worked quite nicely, though initially we did not have custom normals in the geometry nodes, which meant that we had to do some trickery to extract the data, like displacement back and forth. So that's how it worked. And the final layer is just copying the initial normals to create smooth shading on top of that. Then I also worked on the feathers, and again, the feathers were built on top of geometry node's fur object. It worked quite well, except that I don't know, it probably still doesn't have it, but it didn't have blend shapes, which were required to achieve extreme poses like folded wings, which are notoriously hard in animated avians. So I had to do that manually. But in the end, it kind of worked. Also did things like weeds and semi-automated environment objects, weeds and fishes, because it's quite hard to manually model all that, so we had to have some system to plant and comb them, which was inherited from the Blender's for object, basically functionality. And then you have the fishes. Fishes were not simulated, although that would be quite ideal, but it would take just too much time, and the director needed to see all the interaction right away without any simulations or voids. So yeah, there was some jointly node fish system. And also it kind of taught me to, like, because I was doing TV commercials mostly, I was used to sort of kind of perfectionism, where you try to achieve the exact look the client desires. And here I learned that sometimes you just can put together things that look like they do the thing that they're supposed to. In this case, the water is converted to a rigid body to move around the shavings, which is not a real simulation of how it would behave, but it's good enough for a movie. And given that there is a lot of movie, that's often the approach that you just have to resort to. And so this is just one shot of the behind the scenes, because people sometimes ask for the behind the scenes. So here we can see the cat from the behind, just from what you can see in the movie. And yeah, so I had to do a lot of simulations for the animal interaction with the water, and those simulations had to be somehow merged to the Mārtiņš work, which was all the grand views of the floods and stuff like that. So that took quite a bit of geometry nodes development from Mārtiņš to sew those things together.
So to transition to my part of work, so you could see Konstantins did the physics part of the water. I did all of the visuals and like the system that runs it. So a little bit about me. I started with computer games, and I come from computer game world. And I started with Blender game engine, and I would say that my specialty is water and water visuals and water physics. And again, I was sharing these videos on YouTube. Gins saw what I did and approached me, and he gave me this video and said if that is possible in Blender, and in a I would say that this movie Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio in a nutshell is flow, technically. So this means so basically what Gins said is that the camera needs to go inside the water, underwater, and interact with the water. And I didn't know so I said yes to him, but I didn't know if that's actually possible. That's why we went to Blender conference and started to bug people. There's the geometry nodes team, and all of my questions were regarding water, if that's possible to simulate, how to do that, if Blender is going to have these new features coming up that I need. And in the end, I realized, yes, that's probably possible. So at least I had hope that my involvement in the film is going to succeed. Because water in general is difficult, not only in computer graphics, but also in the real world, especially if you make movie underwater. So my approach to this problem, so Gins makes a long shots, and that means that I cannot really fake things. has to work in the same way as computer games work. This means that your camera can go wherever you as a player go. And
probably could mention that we did not have any post-production.
And also, no post-production. There's whatever came from the Blender viewport was on the screen in the film. And that poses some interesting challenges. I was looking for existing tools for Blender, and there was really none to achieve that. So I decided to create my own water rendering system for Blender. And in a way, how Gins works, he likes to work with interactivity. That means, so his first film, Away, was rendered in viewport in Maya. And this film, he actually approached me and asked if Unreal Engine is good enough. And I said, no, Blender, let's use Blender. Eevee is good. And that's why we started. But the thing is that Unreal Engine has already water tools, sky tools, environment tools. Blender has nothing. So that means that we have to do our tools ourselves. And that's why me and Konstantins are in the team. A little bit returning to what you see in here. These are the behind the scenes or technical art that you normally don't see in the movie. But it takes quite a lot of effort to come up with solutions that are not really meant for. So these are the technologies that come from computer games, but it is made to work for film. The next thing after realizing, okay, that I can deliver this to Gins is to start working on the visuals. So that means taking a lot of video references, photo references, going for a swim, putting my phone underwater, just taking quite a lot of videos, and trying to solve each problem one after another. And for example, here you can see that I'm working on the interactivity between the camera and water, between the objects and camera. Here specifically you can see that there's a meniscus line between the water and another material. Here, for example, I'm looking at the ways how to remove the hard lines where the split between object and water is. So these are all of the things that go into the research and development, but in the end, in the movie, I think maybe like 10% show up as a final state. But I enjoy doing that. So another thing that we have in film is that the camera can go inside the boat, and boat goes usually underwater. And that's how you see that I was looking how to cut holes in the water surface, and it had to be really fast. Also interactivity with the objects. So water is always interacting with everything. Objects are interacting with water, water is interacting with objects. There has to be always interaction. And you have to kind of like figure out which parts of the water simulation you can fake and which parts are impossible to fake. That means that there has to be always the balance, not really balance, but we don't have all of the computing power. We had quite a lot of restrictions in terms of time and budget, and also the knowledge of how to do things. This, for example, is something that I found, this is the most fun part I had, but it didn't end up in the movie. Gins gave me an idea that there will be a boat that is going through the algae, and the algae is going to spread and make the nice swirls. I created this system in, I think it was a month or two, and then later Gins said, no, we don't need that. And I was like, oh well, but I'd already made it. So yeah, in the end, I created a system that works for small scale, the cat scale, and also the camera can go. Wow, the camera can go really high up, and the water looks always consistent with the one that is close to the ground and close to the cat. And this, I think I found it really fun to show what Gins created as animatic and the final look of the movie. I don't know. I think Leo previously mentioned that Gins doesn't make what do you call it, like the storyboards. He makes basically an animatic, a ready movie, and then he got us, the team, on board to polish it or make it better. So this is very interesting, just to show the difference what Gins did and the final work, and how closely it actually matches. It is wonderful to work with a director who is involved in every aspect of the movie, starting from animation to visuals to sound and even effects. There's a lot of things that I didn't finish, and the director could just take the work from over and just finish it without my help. It's amazing. Another technical thing was that the water waves had to go through multiple iterations. So I had to create very rough water movement. Then Leo with animators went over, so to adapt to so cat adapts to the water effects and water height. And then again I got back a finished animation and then added smaller splashes and smaller effects. But it is an interactive. It's like a multi-team workflow. You cannot really finish water and then give it to animators because animation influences water effects and physics.
Yeah. So the work on the animation the work on the simulations continued up to the very last days before the movie premiere, which happened in Cannes. The whole creative team got to attend the Cannes ceremony in the spirit of the movie, and despite the restrictions that were remaining from the COVID, most of the team was allowed to on the stage, which usually is reserved just for the director and producers. The movie had.
I just wanted also to add that. I forgot what I was about to say. Okay, let's go. I'll return to that later. So the movie received. I just wanted to tell that this moment was the first time that we saw actually the movie. So we went together to Cannes. The movie was finished like 2 days before the premiere, and we together as a team just watched the movie for the first time, and that was a very emotional moment for everyone involved. And we were as surprised as the rest of the audience. The movie received a standing ovation. Everyone loved it, and later. So this is how during the year of the movie's journey through the festivals, this is how Gint's background changed. So he started only with this one. This was the only thing that he had in the background, and later it just populated with more and more prizes, and our studio started to look like a tiny Eastern European Hollywood. And then it was, I think, very like symbolic that we started together. The whole team started together in Cannes Film Festival, and the director and producer got again the whole team to Los Angeles, and we again get to experience this wonderful moment where Flo received an Oscar.
Yeah, so on the impact, we often hear that these days film industry, at least around the world, experiences quite rough times. But it's obviously changing, including with the advent of AI. But we really hope that Flow did show that it can be done to produce on small scale, and to just by applying the modern technology and creativity of the talent, and not relying on overly huge system, you can create an independent movie that is compelling and viewer likes it. What we do differently?
So this is the question everyone asks us, and I always tell that we wouldn't touch a thing because it just went really well. Like we got an Oscar after all. But I mean, director I think has summarized it quite well, that he's not going to have water anymore in his films.
Yeah. Well, also most of things you can see in the movie are not random, meaning we had done a lot of testing. So if there would be another way of doing it, we'd probably choose it also.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The next movie is going to be made the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Konstantins and Mārtiņš. So, to honor Flo, okay, we have made 20 cap and this jacket. Only 200 set, okay. So, if you guys are interested to get your hat and your jacket and T-shirt, only 200 in the whole world. So we will have a signing around 2 o'clock outside. So it's a first come, first serve. So that's the hat.